Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 9 of Survivor Strong, the place where we talk all things about child sexual abuse, incest, and of course, childhood trauma. Thank you so much for joining me today, live right here on Fireside. And as you know, we're also simulcasting over on Facebook Live. So, hello to everyone that's watching us from there. Of course, right here on Fireside, everyone has the opportunity to ask questions and be involved in the show. So we will open up Q&A a little bit later in the show. So anyone who wants to ask questions, please feel free. Tonight, I have to say, I am really honored to welcome uh, a new yet very dear friend of mine, Suzzy Canny. Suzzy is the president of the Greater Los Angeles chapter of Child Help, an organization committed to the prevention and treatment of child abuse. Suzzy, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here. I mean, as you know, we met at the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books in California, and we connected immediately. So I'm just so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. And I,
Wonderful.
I too felt that immediate connection, and it's it's still vibrating.
Absolutely. I agree 1,000%. I love when we have the opportunity to talk to one another, and especially about something as important as child help and and helping the young victims out there. And so just I just want to start with tell us about child help, and we'll start from there.
Okay, I will. I was thinking about your questions, and I
Good.
yeah, there's something you asked first. You asked about what is Speak Up, Be Safe. Child Help, first of all, is an organization that is here to stop child abuse. The main goal, it came from when the ladies who started it were in Japan, and they saw these orphans, these children, street children who were mixed race, and the orphanages wouldn't take them. So they started a thing called Orphans of the World, and they went to places where we were, and we created children there who were rejected children. And so they had orphanages for them, and in the baby lift that took place after we left Vietnam, they brought children here, and they were uh, taken in by families. So that was the Orphans of America, beginning of Child Help. But then the Reagans came to them and they said, we've got a problem in the United States that we need help with. And so they looked into it, and they created Child Help, which was there to stop murdering children, 5 a day. Yeah,
Wow.
because it was not, they were like treated like property. So they didn't consider it murder. So it was a bad time. So they created this, and on top of it, you're finding child abuse. So they had the abuse to deal with, and then they created all of these, over the 60 years. This is 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Over the 60 years, they have created a program called Speak Up, Be Safe, which is taught in schools. They have a hotline, which is 1-800-4-CHILD, which has 270, I think, uh, languages that they use to speak with. Anybody can call. Now in the hotline, we have two little markers. One's for the kids and one's for the parents, which I think is wonderful, because this one says it's okay if you're not a perfect parent.
Mm.
good parents struggle, good parents make mistakes, good parents find help when they need it.
Yes.
So text, call, or chat with child help. So the bottom line is you want to get to the place where you can have a hotline for the people who are getting ready to abuse, to stop it altogether.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's all about awareness, and it's all about people being able to be safe. So that's why we have a program called Speak Up, Be Safe. And that's taught in the schools. And anybody who wants to look this up can look it up online, and there's a lot. It's called CHSUBS, Speak Up, Be Safe. And it's for people from pre-kindergarten to 12th grade. They talk about safety. There's a whole lesson on safety. There's a lesson on what to do if you are abused, how to report, who to report to. It's a great program, and that can be purchased by Child Help, by the schools for Child Help. There's a charge for it, but it's well worth it.
Of course.
So that's one of those programs. And we have treatment centers. We have the village in Beaumont, which is a wonderful treatment center. There's one in Virginia, and there's a advocacy center in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, tell us more about the Advocacy Center. What do they do there?
They advocate for children who have gone through trafficking and abuse.
Oh, wow.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, let's see. It's also got chapters, and we raise the funds for Child Help, but we also get funds from the government, because we are facilities and we are doing this good work. The hotline is a big thing. We've gone to Congress on Zoom for the last 2 years for the hotline to get funded, and I think they passed it last time.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it was really, it's a really wonderful organization, and I've been in it for 15 years.
Wow.
And you asked me how I got there.
Yes, yes.
And I will say, I have abuse in my family. And my family is now healing. So I'm not going to talk about the abuse, but I'll talk about the moment that I saw Child Help.
Okay, I would love to hear it.
The moment I sat there in a beautiful Sherwood Inn, which is a huge, huge country club, and it is amazing. I just thought I was going to lunch. And I was sitting there at this table with 10 people, and they started talking about Speak Up, Be Safe, and what to do. And I was like, oh my God, if I'd known that. And it immediately broke me into tears. So everybody's giving me napkins, and I am like sitting there in a state of unrest.
Yeah, right.
And the president came over to the table, and she said, you seem to be upset about something. And I said, if I'd only known, it was just like,
yeah.
If I'd only known one or two of the pieces of information I was hearing, I would have been in a different place.
Sure.
And my family would have been in a different place. But anyway, I just was overwhelmed. And she said, well, you should join us. And I said, I can't join it. Yeah, this is the country club. I obviously, these people, I was a bookseller at the time. I didn't make enough money. So she said, well, it costs $50 a year to be a member. I said, oh, I can do that. And immediately I was just like in.
Yes, yes.
So I started getting involved, and I got on the board, and I think I was president twice of that organization. And then that organization had a huge organization. And then all of a sudden, 2 people left for one reason or another. One died and the other moved. And all their followers, their friends, left.
Oh, no.
So we had like now 25 people. And then other people started to move, and so it got smaller. And by the time it got to about 8, we were ready to move down to LA, and I live in LA. I should have been in LA in the first place, but that's not where I got pulled in.
Right,
So
right.
I have been there for, I think, 6 years now. So it's just a wonderful organization with wonderful women, and their passion for helping kids is just beyond, it's like you find your tribe. It's my tribe.
Yes, I love that.
Right.
And can you tell us what are some of the benefits of being a member? I mean,
Well,
why should someone be a member if anyone's considering?
I believe there are a lot of people in the world like yourself who want to stop this. And that's my reason, because I wanted to stop this. I didn't get to stop it because I didn't know what was happening.
Right.
But now I know, and I want to stop it. And I want other people to know so that they can stop it, because this isn't going to be stopped by the police. It's not going to be stopped by the government. It's going to be stopped by families where all this stuff happens.
That's right.
So I just want that information out there for families. And then when I heard about Speak Up, Be Safe, I was just in. That was the part that made me cry, because these kids are being taught in kindergarten back then, and they are now, but they were being taught to say stop. It's my body.
Right. Right.
Make that moment happen. I mean,
and that's amazing. We both know that that's where it starts when they're
yeah,
young in the home. They have to learn that that's their body. So
it's
really
a
what I
boundary.
yes, and really what I hear you saying is just knowing that you're part of a movement
Yes.
is so rewarding,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. And to know there are a lot of people out here who don't think this is okay
Yes.
because it isn't.
Right. Right. I love that. And that's exactly why, as you know, I'm going to become a member,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I am super excited for that. I can tell you that I was honored. For those of you who don't know, I was honored to be invited to the a Child Health Gala in California by the wonderful Suzzy, and I had a wonderful time attending. And I was so inspired just watching the video of the two women who really is leading the charge here, Yvonne and Sarah, I believe it is, right?
Yes.
Um, and I could not take my eyes off the screen when I tell you, just watching them and just seeing how passionate they were about it, the mission and why they're doing what they're doing. I said, I have to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I have to be involved. Um, so I share your feeling about how wonderful the organization is, because, like you say, so many people, had they known
Yeah. A lot would have been different.
exactly. And that's the whole goal here in my mission, actually, with my Survivor Strong podcast, with everything that I'm doing, is to raise awareness that we need to start teaching children boundaries from, toddlers,
Yeah.
that they don't have to hug anyone that they don't want to hug. We have to
Yeah.
stop, telling boys that, or if they're around a pretty girl and they're smiling at a girl, oh, look, he's flirting with you. No, he's a baby and he's smiling because he's a baby. He's not flirting with anybody,
Yeah.
but just like, it's that mindset that
Right.
we've had for so long, that normalized kids being in relationships, kids being boyfriend, girlfriend, kids hugging and kissing when they're toddlers, because it's cute. It's cute when we
Right.
see that, right? But
Oh,
what,
so
but what we don't realize is that we're basically teaching our children that that's what they're here for, and that's how
mhm.
they interact with the opposite sex,
Yeah.
instead of learning to love and respect each other for being humans. There's that oh, he thinks you're cute, or, always has to throw that in there somewhere,
Yeah.
So, um, so Speak Up, Be Safe, you said that any school can purchase it.
Yeah.
Um, no, I'm passionate about this, and
I
I
know.
want to know what I can do to help. How can I find out in my area if schools in my area practice this or have this education?
Well, you can contact your school districts, and also it's done through Zoom as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The curriculum is online, and the curriculum is there for the school to educate the kids. Basically, you want to go to your school district and find out if there's any schools that have the Speak Up to Be Safe program. And
Right.
if they don't, introduce them to it.
Right. Maybe school board meetings or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something like that. And that's something that anyone can do.
You can do that as an
Yeah.
advocate. Yeah. All
Yeah.
you have to
Anyone.
do is, yeah, you, after you
Hmm.
join, you can say, I am a member of this organization, and
Yes.
here is the entire profile online.
Right.
It's just under Speak Up, Be Safe. And then you purchase it from at the bottom of the thing, then the person who is in child help who makes that possible.
Hmm.
When
Wow.
I was going around, it was $5 a child. It's not expensive, but
No.
there's a cost to supplies, and there's a cost to,
Of
you know,
course. Of course. And, and that's the thing is, you're a nonprofit and, it's like, I know it's difficult. If we could, we would give it away for free,
of course.
but there is a
And they
cost
do,
to it.
because the information's online if somebody
Oh my
wants to
gosh,
look it
of
up.
course, of course. But for the, but to have this in the school system, I mean, it's worth however much
Yeah.
the nominal fee is. I mean, it's very
And what
based on
happens
what you're
is,
saying.
if you find a school that wants to have it, and you have a chapter, and you decide you're going to do a fundraiser to make money for the school to have this program, then you could do that. There's also the PTA. I was the youngest PTA person in California at 23.
Oh, wow. Why does that not surprise me at all?
They were trying to get rid of the men who were overtaking the PTA, and they said, my name was Johnson at the time. They said, we got to get this little Miss Johnson up there with her mini skirt. But at 23, I was running the PTA in the little school in San Gabriel. But it was a big education for me. The PTA is a very powerful organization.
Hmm.
And the PTA itself can do the fundraising for Speak Up Be Safe program if you talk to the
Right.
PTA.
So if I go to the PTA meetings, and I could probably present it to the PTA, and
Absolutely.
then they would advocate with the school
Right. Because
on my behalf.
that's a nonprofit that advocates for the school.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Right.
It's perfect in. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a really good way to go, especially if you don't have chapters in Florida. So
Right. Right.
you one day will. But
Yes, I
right
will.
now, you can work with the PTA.
Yes, exactly. I have to start somewhere, right?
Right, exactly. You let
Something.
nothing get in your way here.
Oh, exactly. Something else that I think is important too about Speak Up, Be Safe, from what I've read about it online, is that it tells you, not a lot of people understand what abuse is.
Right.
Not a lot of people understand what is abandonment. A lot of kids just think, oh, my mom's just gone all the time. She just trusts me. That's what I love about it. So, what are some examples that you can give, like maybe some common things that people don't recognize as abuse, but is in fact abuse?
Well, neglect is the hard one,
Mm.
because there are people who have been raised in cages, children. That is neglect and imprisonment. And it's a horrible thing. But that's one of the people who spoke at the village was a person who was raised like that. The person who adopted these children came and brought them back, and they talked about how they'd grown with their foster parent. That's another program of child health, that's foster parenting.
Right, right.
So it's, that there are things you can't even imagine that are abuse.
Yeah.
And I don't like to get into the details of those things.
That I understand. I respect that.
But it's, it's true. And people's stories are so important that, it's important to be able to understand when a child is talking about something that seems normal to them and is abuse, like neglect, like I don't get to have a bath every day. I don't, maybe they have to sleep on the floor, and they, there are lots of ways that children are being abused.
Yeah, and I guess really bottom line is if you suspect something, say something.
Say something, yeah.
Because you're
And
better
if
off. You're better off being wrong,
right,
and not reporting at all.
If you suspect something, this hotline is another way to go, because you can talk it through with a counselor and ask the counselor what to do. Now,
That's amazing.
If you watch any of these videos about the beginning of child health, there was a person who just that in that movie they talk about how this little boy was actually buried and given a straw to breathe from.
Wow.
And it's a really incredible story. The only way they found out was because he drew a picture of a little boy under, buried.
Wow.
And it's a really moving story, but kids don't think I'm going to tell somebody about this because I know it's wrong if the father says this is how you're being punished.
Yeah.
So, and then the police came and dug this up, and there it all was, evidence he could not go back to that family, which he was almost getting ready to go into. So parents are good at hiding their abuse.
You know what? That's actually a really good point, and it just made me think about it. Really, this program is for the children, to educate children about what abuse is, and that if it's happening to them, to speak up.
Right.
And so they don't have to wait for anyone else to speak
That's
for
right.
them. That they learn and they understand, no, I can report this on my own because this is happening to me. Oh my gosh, this is happening to me. And that's really why it's so powerful.
That's why Speak Up, Be Safe is so powerful.
Yes.
That's really it. And then the hotline is the same thing. If a kid sees the hotline, or somebody gives him the information for the hotline, and he sees that maybe his parents are fighting, and now he's going to get beaten up because his parents are fighting. This is something that always happens. So he closes himself in the room, locks the door, gets the phone, and calls the hotline. And they have many calls like that.
Wow.
So, and then the police come, because they're connected to all the police.
And see, and that's another amazing thing. Because for kids, calling the police can be intimidating.
They're not calling the police, they're calling hotline.
Right, that's what I mean. So it's like they have this person that they can call, so they don't have to be the bad guy calling the police.
They have to be the good guy sitting on the phone waiting for the police to come. The counselor is on the phone with them until the police get there.
Right, because I know for me, I was told you can't ever call the cops because they'll come and take you away. And so for me, I feared cops.
Of course.
So um, I would absolutely, if I had the choice, to call the cops or the child help hotline, I would a thousand
Would
percent
call
call
them
the hotline. You know?
because it's for you.
Yes.
And look at these little bookmarks. They look like they're for kids.
Oh, they're so cute. For those of you on Fireside, you can't see these, but when I rebroadcast, you'll actually see the video, and they're really cute bookmarks.
So this one is the one for children, and it's in Spanish and it's in English. And this one is the one for the parents. As you can see, it's a hand,
Yeah.
parent's hand and child's hand, and it's in Spanish and it's in English. So
Okay.
they're very cute, and they go in the books, school books.
I love them. So those that the schools that do purchase the program, they get the bookmarks that they could pass
Yeah,
out. Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome.
You get a whole bunch of materials.
Have you guys ever considered selling them to individuals? Selling the program to individuals?
No, I don't. I haven't heard them say that.
Yeah. I'm just wondering because, say someone, say I'm somebody, I go to my child's school and I can't get them um, to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Teach. They don't want to get
Base
the program to teach it.
exactly. But yet I'm a mom.
They're
I
too
do
busy.
want to teach it. As a
I
mom, I
don't know. You
do
should
want to
ask
teach it.
that. You
You know?
should ask that. Call not child help and ask it.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a person at the end of the one online, and I think his name is Michael, but he's the one you're supposed to call. So just
Okay.
call him, and he'll tell you if you can do that.
Because that could just be another way to get the word out,
Yeah.
that if we can't do,
And I wonder if when you say that, I wonder if Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts could do that.
oh, that's a good idea.
These are actually group things.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That could be two groups that could
Yeah.
be good to reach out to.
When you're talking to him, ask that.
Yeah, yeah. Let me make my little
You
note.
might have a movement going there without even a chapter.
Right. I got something
Just,
going, I'll tell you that.
just get your girlfriends with you, and
I know. There you go. Done.
and then you'll have your chapter.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so I'm definitely going to do that. The PTA definitely going to do that. Yeah, that's just it's amazing. But the thing is too is because you think about the program, those who those who I just lost my train of thought. A thing that I got distracted by a pop up here. um, oh gosh, what was I saying, Susie?
I'd
I'm
help you if I was sitting in the room with you. I know I would be able to pull it out of you. Those who are abused or those who don't know about abuse.
Yes,
Those
yes, thank you. Um, and dang it, I can't get it back. It was gonna be, it was good too.
it'll come back.
It'll definitely come back. I it's just such a speak up, be safe. People don't know that they're being abused, um, and the schools or whatnot that are teaching these programs, and they're the mandatory reporters. So it would make
Right.
sense that I mean, who's educating the educators
Right.
on this?
Well, that is part of the program.
That's part. See, you educate the educators, and then educate the kids
Right.
because
And
they're the mandatory reporters.
yeah, they'll hear what they need to hear once they know what they need to hear.
Yeah, right. Um, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Um, and so they can use the hotline to report abuse. They can use the hotline to even if they're not sure if it's abuse, if they,
That's that's a big part of the hotline.
yeah.
Because a lot of times people don't know, and they'll call and say, "This is I'm looking at this and I don't like it, but and I have a feeling. Could you tell me?" When I used the hotline, I did it because my granddaughter had a friend who was being bullied online,
Oh,
and she was really upset. And she was a little girl; there were 10, and my granddaughter does not remember this, but I do. So she told me about it, and I said, I'm calling the hotline right now. And so I called the hotline and asked them what to do about this little girl's being bullied online. And
right.
they said, well, your daughter can stick up for her.
It's not her place to stick up for her.
Your granddaughter can stick up for her as her
Oh,
friend. Don't say that about my friend. She can do that. But your the girl can report it to whoever um, they have a uh, blocking system that you can block somebody from your Facebook. I'm not
oh yes, yeah, yeah.
on Facebook. Yeah, this was back in the day when it was first Facebook, and
Right.
so and that was the suggestion they made, that they block it and report it on Facebook. So, and not that that would make much difference, but
Mhm.
the fact that somebody cared is what mattered, and the fact
Yeah.
that somebody was told, and it was upsetting to Caitlin, enough to Caitlin to tell her grandmother, and her grandmother to call the hotline.
Right.
This was found out to be not right. It's just not right.
No, it's not. No, you're right. It's not right. It's not right at all. I mean, think about the responsibility that puts on the kids around her, to expect friends to speak up for people that are being
Other,
bullied, and it's
yeah,
not, I mean, yes, we want to teach our kids to, speak up and speak out, obviously. But at the same time, to ask them to police bullying is,
well, bullying is inside a group, and it doesn't happen unless somebody inside the group thinks they're going to be cool because they bullied somebody.
yeah, yeah,
So actually, inside the group is the best place to get rid of bullying.
that's actually true. That's actually a good point. Because if you speak up to the bully, chances are the bully's going to leave you alone. And if you're in
Mm-hmm.
a group and someone shamed you for bullying, you're less likely to bully because you don't want to be shamed.
It's all what happens in, I mean, look at what's happening really in the internet right now. I mean,
Yeah.
Facebook, I don't even go on Facebook.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I mean, no, I have learned to avoid it like the plague because it's too upsetting.
yeah,
It's too, yeah, I don't want to hear everything that's going on. I don't want to sound selfish about this, but I just like right now, I have enough going on that I can't really add on anything else right now. I just can't, you know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but anyway, um, so getting back here to my questions, so I've already kind of asked you, what advice do you have for those that may want to get involved? And really, it's to join a chapter and in their area. That's one way that they can get involved.
Mhm.
Um, but you know, I want to ask you, like, what advice would you give to survivors? What advice would you give to survivors who have been what you've been through?
I really, the first thing that happened when I started my journey through child health was I started to learn what happened in my world.
Mm,
And and I had been in a lot of therapy, so it was really important for me to see how the world was about this situation.
Sure, sure.
And really, adult survivors have two really important responsibilities. One is to protect their children,
Mm,
and the
big
other
right there,
is,
right?
yeah, and the other is to know what's happening. And so I learned a lot just by being in the courses of Speak Up, Be Safe, because that's the first thing I did. They
Mm,
had a course in Speak Up, Be Safe.
right.
I wouldn't have been teaching it, but I wanted to learn about it so I could take it to schools. So that I did the course. And then I started taking care of the inner child with
Yes.
Speak Up, Be Safe.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, don't touch me there, which would mean like, don't say something to me that I have to now fight over,
Right, right.
and create boundaries and do all of that stuff yourself. A survivor has to take on their inner child and give it a home inside them,
I love that.
and
Yeah.
the, the self-expression, because that inner child has a beautiful self-expression, but it can only be done if can only be expressed if it's healed.
Right.
So I did a lot of inner child work and just
Yeah.
using these techniques. If I there's the great thing is stop. Just being able to say stop,
Yeah.
that really helped me. So as a survivor, I think um, it's a really great source. It really is. And when you're a survivor, it also gives you an opportunity to do something for the world because you survived it,
Mm-hmm.
like a concentration camp people,
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
very much like that.
Yeah, because we have survived a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still surviving.
We are
As
every day.
survivors, every single day, we all know it doesn't always get easier, sometimes it gets harder and then it gets, okay, this isn't so bad. And now, oh, wait, it's hard again. you know, it's a
And
roller coaster, it's a roller coaster.
you've got to realize that you're in the roller coaster with your inner child who's scared about a lot of other stuff than
Hmm.
your big self,
Mm,
you know. So it's really protecting yourself on that sensitive child level,
yeah,
and then taking action with your powerful health self, your powerful adult self,
right.
and advocate for your little inner child.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's so important because I realized recently my little child is little Eve.
Um,
And I recently realized how much little Eve has been carrying. All of this anger and pain that she had to stuff down because it wasn't safe to, explore it. Now, as a woman, I feel that inner child in me. And I feel her screaming, saying, I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm sick of being angry. I'm sick of being hurt, but it's just part of the process of processing it. You have to feel
taking
that
care of it.
pain.
Taking care of them.
That's right, because really, when you're releasing the pain as an adult, you're really releasing the pain for,
Your child within. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
It's a
Exactly.
process. It's really a process. And it goes on and on.
Yes, I mean, and That's why I love to have successful people like you on the show, so people see, you know, people of all walks of life have been through trauma.
Yeah.
And I think it's healthy for other survivors to see other successful survivors. But I also want to say that just because they may see us being successful in the things that we're doing, that it doesn't devalue them.
No,
They're
absolutely
not
not.
in that place.
No.
But that it's just inspiration that they can come out of wherever they are, um, with putting in the work that has to be put in to do it. And you know what? And I say this all the time. I mean, I just recently, um, and I was candid with you during our talk this morning. Um, just recently felt this anger, had this anger that I'm allowing myself to feel that. And you know what? Normally when I walk out this door, I have a big smile on my face. You wouldn't know anything was going on. But you know what? For the past week or so, I've walked out when I go into a store. I don't fake a smile because I'm not happy. And that's
No,
okay. It's okay. You don't have to pretend.
that's right.
You can be who you are, where you are, and you're worthy of healing still.
Yes, you are. I have a little picture of myself when I was very about 6 years old, and there is that happy smile, that inner child smile on that picture, and it just was captured. I'm sure my mother must have taken it, but it was totally captured. And my husband is a retoucher, so he had it blown up a little bit. And I wake up every morning and I look at it, and I think, when I see that smile, I know it's really the inner child smile.
Yes.
Yes, and I look for it. And when I feel it, I let it be so that I can actually experience what the whole body feels when you're having that much joy. And that inner child is where all the joy source is.
I absolutely love that. And it's so true. And, with that, I want to open up if anyone would like to come on stage and ask any questions. You can stay on, you can come on video or just stay audio only, whatever you prefer. So don't be shy. We'll give them
I can't wait to meet somebody.
I know. Let's see if anybody's if anybody will come through and ask any questions. But in the meantime, while we wait for that, I'm feeling inspired by this inner child talk. I'm feeling inspired by getting the word out and protecting the inner child of all of these children
Yes.
before they outgrow it. Before they forget who their inner child is until it's too late, Um, I'm so inspired. Every time I think about it, I get goosebumps, literal goosebumps about what I'm going to be able to accomplish with
Yeah.
child help. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it,
I'm so excited you are.
Yeah. I am
I
just
think about every time I think about just standing on the corner of that that little lane where you were sitting in your little booth, and I'm standing there and I'm looking around and I see the sign, that picture of the little girl on your, you,
Yes.
and I'm like, I think I'll go look at that one. And I walked over there and we started talking, and I said, we have an event, and you said, I'll be back. And I thought, where's she gonna be? And you said Florida. Oh my God.
Yes.
Back to California in 2 weeks.
I'll come back. Absolutely, I'll come back
You
for
did?
that. And I did for one day only. I felt like a jet setter coming to California for one day for a big event, flying back home.
And you looked marvelous.
Thank you so much. I felt marvelous just to be there and be in the room with everyone, and just all the good work and the comedian that you had, Michael.
Oh, Michael J. Oh my
Michael J.
God.
So funny and such a warm, yep, right there, Michael Jr. Um, and I'm looking at, just for those of you who can't see her right now, we're looking at a picture of Michael J.'s book, Funny How Life Works, which I was so honored to meet him. He's a hilarious comedian. I don't know, a lot of his material will go straight to the heart, right, Susie?
Yes, and you know, because we all got the book, everybody in the chapter has been reading it.
Yes.
And there's a thing that he said in his speech about you got to listen to the gaps in the room
Yes.
and see where things can land and know where that's going. And I think something that's was in the gap in the room in our conversation that I'm really glad we talked about is the inner child.
Mm.
Because child help doesn't really talk about the inner child. They talk about the children.
Right.
And and I think that the inner child is the source.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of that because of being a 72-year-old survivor of this.
Yes.
And that survivor has saved the inner child so that I can experience it even in old age, which is really, really, really the goal. You
Yeah.
know, to feel that childlike feeling, that love, that exuberance, that, oh my God, I'm awake.
Yeah. Woohoo!
I just
Yeah.
think that's the wonderful thing about child health, that it does, we're at the source of that inner child.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And it looks like our listeners and viewers are going to be shy tonight. I don't have any questions coming through tonight, but that's okay. A lot of times questions come through after the fact, after I post up the replay. So, we may still have some questions for you. But Susie, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Um, I really hope to welcome you back to the Survivor Strong podcast to, talk about more things about the movement and other things that we can do together as a community to
Mm-hmm.
help prevent this from happening to more children. You know,
Exactly. That's the point.
that's the point. So thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. So that was Suzy Canny, as I said, president. And I say president because she was the vice president the last time that I saw her. And since then, she's been promoted to president of the Greater Los Angeles chapter of Child Help. Um, Susie, you want to read off that child help information one more time. So for one more time, for those of you who may need to reach out, the number, the hotline is.
Oh, the hotline is 1-800 for a child. 1
1
800
800.
for a child. Also 1-800 422 4433.
Wonderful. Thank you for doing that. And before we go, I do have some exciting news to tell everyone about. I am actually going to be traveling again. Woohoo! And also, just a little update due to my travel schedule, I'll be holding the show every other week. For the time being, I do anticipate going back to weekly shows at some point, but travel is just a little bit heavy right now, so it's just a little bit easier to manage for me every other week. So I will be back on Wednesday, July 6th. Can't believe already July 6th at 7 p.m. right here live on Fireside. You've been listening to Survivor Strong, and remember, you've got this. We're all in this together. Until next time.